Hey, welcome to Giving Back with Steve and Michele. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Karen Rosenswag, and she is One Smart Cookie. And I want to welcome you to the show. I'm super excited for you to be here because all of the stuff that you talk about on your show and what you give back is pretty amazing. And so welcome, Karen.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Karen. How did you
So
kind of
my
get started?
my company is called One Smart Cookie Marketing, and I started it in 2010 to sort of help fill the gap of social media emerged in the late 2000s. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn popped up, and a lot of people had no idea what to do and how to use it for their business. So I learned how to use it fairly quickly and started engaging clients to help them tell their story well. So rather than just random throw the spaghetti against the wall kind of content of what should I post today, we really work on telling their story well over a sort of a thoughtful series of posts and photos and videos to really show them at their best and show people what it would be like to work with them. So I work with people through coaching, training, classes. The one thing you can't do is give your social media to me and expect the problem to go away. So I don't do that for people, but I act as training wheels. So I ride along with people until they actually get it and understand what they're doing. And then I take the training wheels off, and then you're on your own, and then you get to authentically own your own social media, and you don't have to pay somebody to do that for you anymore.
Because that is very expensive to have someone manage your social media as we're exploring and seeing the options out there. So that's actually a great service that you provide that people can do it. I guess what typically, how long do you work with a particular client for usually?
We usually, in my coaching program, I have a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month package. So it sort of depends for people. If they're just starting up a new business or they've pivoted during COVID and are doing an entirely different thing, they might sign up for a longer package because it will take a while to get a little momentum and create all the messaging and those kinds of things. But typically people, at least, we work together for 3 months. And the way we do is we work every other week. So I kind of call it therapy for your business. So show up every 2 weeks and we have a little hour session and we sit down and work on what's going well and create new messages and just get you all fired up to run out and do your work for the next couple of weeks. And then you come back in for a tune-up and we adjust things and then you go out again. So usually 3 months is a good base, but most people probably come in and stay around 6 months or so.
So I have a question. So your business is One Smart Cookie. So how did you come up with that name?
Good question. So I have always done marketing, public relations in the communications field. But after about 15 or 20 years of working in the high-tech field and college athletics in marketing, I quit everything and started a personal chef business because that's the logical career path.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, there was some sort of radical change there. You'll have to.
I couldn't take working in a cubicle in the offices, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And so I decided I learned I already knew how to cook. So I found out how to create a business and get people to hire me and pay me money to come into their homes and cook for them every few weeks. So I did that for about 6 years. And so, as I mentioned before, in late 2008, 2009, when Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn appeared, I got excited to work on that again. And so I started helping people with that. And the people I was helping were in the food industry. So those were the people I was cooking for or working with and learning from. And so I called my business One Smart Cookie Marketing because it had that nod back to my food world. And so a lot of my original clients were all restaurants and chefs and food and beverage type people. So that's the origin of the name, so that people sort of, I don't bake cookies. I do get that question a lot. I make cookies, but that is not my business. I don't have a cookie business. I have a marketing business that I started out by specializing in the food industry, and now it's expanded for small business owners and entrepreneurs and people just like me who don't have a staff, who don't have a team, but still need to get their message out there. So I want to empower them to do that themselves powerfully in as little time as possible every week, so you can do the thing that you actually really love to do.
Right on.
And you also have a thing on Mondays, or you have been for a period of time, and that's actually really nice. It's
the Lounge LinkedIn.
Lounge LinkedIn.
LinkedIn Lounge. I love it.
To help people navigate LinkedIn.
We met in an networking group called Ignite. And so I'm doing a pilot program right now for that group. So it's part of my giving back, is always doing some type of free education and keeping business owners equipped to tell their story well. So I'm doing a pilot program in that group called the LinkedIn Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
So every Monday night for an hour, we open up the lounge and people can attend for free. And we pick one topic, something about LinkedIn. And I give a 15 or 20-minute training on tips and tricks on how to use that well. And then for the remainder of the hour, I take questions from everybody and we critique their profile and give them ideas and suggestions how they can improve their profile. So so I did that in the month of August just to see if that was something maybe that would be worth taking on a broader scale. So it's been really successful and people are actually finally using LinkedIn now, which is great.
Oh, I know. So I have to get my LinkedIn up and running, and I don't know. I would listen to your first one and about catching somebody's attention. So
Mhm.
how do you stand out? And so
Right.
if you want to go into a little bit about that without,
Right.
putting.
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, it's the world's largest professional business networking group. So it's
Mhm.
not or platform. So it's not like Facebook where you're looking at people's baby pictures and vacation and lunch and all those things. But people go to LinkedIn to get recommendations and referrals and learn business knowledge. So often what will happen is people will hear about you and they'll go to LinkedIn to look up and see who you are. They don't even go look for a website. They go to LinkedIn because they want to see who you are and if you have any friends in common, and so they go to LinkedIn to learn about you. So if you have a profile where you haven't updated any of your information or it's not very interesting or it's not current, it can do a lot of damage to your reputation and it could send
Mhm.
people off to your competitors. So what I try to do is one of the first things we work on is called the headline. So essentially on LinkedIn, your profile, it says your name and then usually it's your job title right under your name. That's called your
Right.
headline, but you have the opportunity to customize that and use some other kind of a benefit statement or use some keywords about what somebody might be looking for. Instead of saying you're a real estate agent, you could say, I help people find the home of their dreams, in the Puget Sound area, or, like instead of showing up in a result of 5,000 people that just say real estate agent and you wonder who should you pick, your
Mhm.
headline could actually give people some hint about who you actually serve and what it's like to work with you.
That's a great point because I remember we did attend one, and you were saying that there was a certain percentage of real estate agents, um, whether it was in Ignite, but they didn't list Tacoma as being a Tacoma.
Exactly.
They would just say that they're a real estate agent, right? And
Yeah, so that's what happens is LinkedIn is very much like Google. And if somebody goes to LinkedIn and searches real estate agent Tacoma, and those words aren't actually in your profile, you don't show up in that search. And so some of my clients have been shocked to find out that they're on page 7 or 8 of the search results. And they thought, well, I'm a real estate agent in Tacoma. I should show up, fairly high, but they don't because they just don't like the word Tacoma actually might not even be in the profile. So they are never going to show up. So those are the things we work on is those little nuggets you need to put in your profile so that LinkedIn will show you higher in a search. And also the more people that you're connected to on LinkedIn makes you show up higher in a search because it sort of triangulates. Oh, Michelle, you want a realtor in Tacoma. Here's one that you have 15 people in common with. So
Mhm.
it helps put you higher in a search, the more people that it actually can identify that might be make you a better match to that person.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
there's some people that think, oh, I don't need connections or, I'm just fine. But actually, if you have 1,000 connections, you show up way more places than you do if you have 100.
Well, it was kind of funny. So you said that because I was actually on LinkedIn last night, just kind of scrolling through, and I clicked on one of my coworkers a long time, like 10 years ago,
Mhm.
and all of these people showed up that I used to work with that was not on my LinkedIn page. And so I went in, I'm like, friend, or click or invite or whatever. So then I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because I have not done my tagline. And I thought I was trying to, and you can't change your tagline on your phone. You have to do it
Yeah,
from
so
the
some of the
computer.
functionality of the mobile app is not is it's just not as good as it is on the
Hmm.
desktop. So I always tell people to update their profile on their laptop computer because or their desktop because you have all the choices and mobile is really meant for reading messages and replying and posting on the go. But when you
Right.
really want to actually make some solid changes, you have better options and more choices on the desktop.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be working on that this afternoon. I blocked
Great.
out some time
Mhm.
because on my tagline I want to say something like, "Hey, I make millionaires."
Yeah.
So
Well, it was
when you're
funny.
in
I
the
think I
financial world, I mean,
There
I
you
want to
go.
stand out.
well, I think I used an example in the class that you were in of there was a business coach
Mm-hmm.
who changed his from business coach at ABC company, whatever it was, nothing that would stand out, and his tagline became, "I've helped 7 companies earn billion-dollar status this year. Are you number 8?" And
Right.
that was his
That's
headline.
excellent. Yeah.
It really strikes people either as really cheesy or really bold or really smart. Like it just kind of depends. But what it does right away is you don't really care what he does. It's just what you care about is the result you get. And it's like if you think you are on your way to being a billion-dollar company and you need help, that's your guy. And if you are, oh, I'm not that big, then okay, well, I won't waste this time. I'll look somewhere else. And so if all of us put better info like that, we would attract the right people and we wouldn't have to send so many people away that aren't a good fit for us. If we actually just said, here's the people I have the best results with, if you're one of them, contact me. So
Mm-hmm.
we can make it a lot easier on ourselves.
You had an interesting comment about the idea that you can actually do damage to yourself by not really updating, and that kind of got me because I've been really lax about LinkedIn. I started as a real estate investor, and I'm now in business with Michelle, and I added that on. But I really haven't been active, and so that's something I really have to be aware of, and because it's becoming so important now. It's not just um, not a well. That's I'm a member of LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
think, it helps because if I go search for, some financial advisors and I get a whole list of things and I start looking at what people are doing and I see yours and maybe even you don't even have your correct or what I think is your current job there. You maybe haven't updated that. And so it says you're still maybe a real estate investor. And I go, oh, that must not be the right Steve Shaw. I might, so it might send people away. Or if
Mm-hmm.
they look and doesn't look current or you haven't been posting any info or doing anything, they might think, oh, maybe they're not in business anymore. And so people, that's why I call it a reputation management tool, because people go there and make decisions about you that you have no idea just based on what you've decided to post. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you choose not to post there, you could be sending away with people without even realizing it.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's what you said in your when we sat at Ignite together, and I thought,
Mhm.
"Oh my gosh, I haven't seen my LinkedIn in like 4 years." So,
I
I
tell
should
some
probably
people,
look at it.
sometimes it's better not even to have a LinkedIn profile. If you're not going to manage it and maintain it and make it look current, it might be doing you more damage than not even having one to begin with.
Mhm.
And I
Exactly.
certainly don't want people not to be on LinkedIn. I want everyone to be on LinkedIn, but I've just seen it hurt people so much more than it actually helps when they just neglect it. So that's why I'm trying to do some of these free classes, and I give lots of free advice to people about what can I do just to get started. And once people get on a little bit of a roll, then they might decide to invest some time and money in actually, making it look as good as it can. And that's then when we might do a session or two, or I don't only do coaching that would go over months. Sometimes people just hire me for an hour.
Mhm.
I have a little product called the LinkedIn Reality Check, which is I sit down with people and I do a whole written evaluation of their LinkedIn profile in about 15 areas and tell them what's good and what needs work and where the potential is. And then after I send that to them, we schedule the 30-minute Zoom call and we go over all those results and they can ask questions and figure out whether they can actually do this themselves or they need more help.
Mhm.
So that little product it's just a $97 product, so fairly easy entry level for people that want to make a little investment in their marketing. And so that's another way that I have I mean, I could probably price that much higher, but I want to keep it low so that people actually do the work and then come. And it's a lot more fun when there's more people in the sandbox playing, right? So I just
Mhm.
want,
Mhm.
yeah, people to get active and really take part. So I created that sort of a smaller product really during COVID because people were looking for small things they could do and inexpensive things that could get them going. And so that was one of the things I've created during this last few months to help people.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. So, we have a little bit more time left, so I want to know more a little bit about you. So, what are some of your fun things that you like to do when you're not helping people on LinkedIn or social media?
Well, I love to travel, and sadly, that's gone by the wayside. So, I spent about 15 years working in college athletics.
Yeah.
Some,
Where
you
where
know,
did you work?
huge sports fan. I went to University of Washington, and then after that, I moved to California, and I worked a number of colleges: University of California, Berkeley, San Jose State University, the Pac-12 conference. So I worked in media relations, which means I traveled with the teams and made sure they did,
Wow.
we set up the TV interviews. Like anytime you read something about a coach or an athlete, it was people like me behind the scenes that make that happen and coach them and make sure that they look as good as possible and just make sure all of our stuff, gets in the paper. And so we facilitated, sort of all the publicity for athletic departments. So for that, I'm a huge sports fan, obviously. So the NFL, I'm kind of biting my fingernails, hoping that we actually have an NFL season. So I know tons of people are Seahawk fans, and I am too, but mostly it's just really NFL. And some people think I'm crazy, but I play fantasy football, which is a total another thing, but it's sort of a little play thing that you can do with, and I've played almost 25 years. So
Really? Wow.
I started this when I was in sports, college athletics. I started playing with a group of sports writers in California, and we still have the league going. I think we're on year 27 maybe now, 27 or
Wow.
28.
Wow. It's hard. You guys got the inside scoop though. So
Yeah.
how does
So
it?
well, that's the
Who's your,
thing.
who's your
Yeah, we pay attention, we hear things and see things. And so, yeah, we do have it is kind of nice sometimes, but now they're all still in California and I'm in Seattle. So now I have insight of different, like I know about the Seahawks and things that they don't know about. So I get some secrets up here too.
Wow. Who's your favorite coach or who someone that you interviewed or you worked with that you really have?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite always will be, so most people know who this is, but Don James was a longtime
Oh yeah.
University of Washington
Yeah.
football coach. He was the coach when I went to school there and
Were
just a
you there
lot
when they won the national championship?
of, a
Oh,
lot of integrity, super nice man, always did the right thing. Players admired him, never any scandals, just really like, and he has passed on now. He's no longer with us. But I remember even as a student athlete working in the athletic department, he would stop and take time and talk to me and what are you doing? And hey, have you done your homework? Or how come you're still here? Or what else are you, he would just took interest in me as a person. And like, this was a head
yeah.
football coach and I was a little student intern, and he just really cared about everything that was going on in the whole program, not just about his football players. And so for me, that kind of always was the gold standard of kind of coaches that really care about people and not just what can you do for me on the field.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what got you to leave the college athletics? Because
Yeah,
it
so I
seemed
was
like you,
working. You think stay forever, right? So it's a couple of things. One is when the athletes become old enough to be your children, or you become old enough that athletes can be your children, it starts not to be as fun. And traveling, we are traveling 4 or 5 days a week and staying up till 2, 3 in the morning. And when you play games every night or on the weekends, it's kind of a crazy life, and you don't have a lot of time for your friends and family. So that was one thing. But also, I was living in the Bay Area. And if you know anything about that, remember the late 90s, that was the dot-com boom and everybody, all these startup companies and they were just throwing crazy money at people that had any kind of skills in the public relations or marketing arena. So I thought I was going to go make my fortune for some dot-com company. So I left college athletics to go chase some money and it did not work well.
oh,
Everything kind of blew up. And that's actually what got me back to Seattle is I came back home because the dot-com stuff was still going in Seattle. Even after the Bay Area blew up, Seattle still had some opportunities. So I came back home and that's when the long decline started to come that drove me into the personal chef that now drove me into this. So it's a long and winding road that doesn't make any sense, but all of the things give you pieces that really make you who you are. And it's all a part of the success.
it is a long and winding road, Karen. That's,
There's no way you could have predicted, this path.
No. But you know what? The thing is that the journey is long,
Yeah.
and it's fun. So
Yeah.
it takes you into different lives and different facets of you instead of just
Yeah.
staying stagnant and just doing your thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so super excited.
Yeah, well, the last thing I'll mention is one thing I do in my free time, especially during COVID, is I work at a food bank locally. So I know you've had Lawana Lee on, who
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
love her.
Empowerment Center, and so every Saturday I go there with some friends, and we volunteer our time and make sure that people aren't going hungry in our neighborhood and in our city. And so that was a new thing really that I started because honestly, on a Saturday morning, I had lots of other things I did before COVID. But all of a sudden, we had time and I saw the importance of it and to just see what people get from giving back and a little bit of your time and how much difference it makes when people aren't hungry. I mean, it really changes your perspective. And so I now cancel other plans that I can do on Saturday now because I'm like, no, I have to be at the food bank. Like, we have to
Right.
be here or these people don't eat and this doesn't happen. And so that's become a new thing, kind of one of the positives out of COVID is really get, which is obviously the theme of your whole podcast, but really giving back. And when you have time, it's easy to give to other people and do some things that you didn't make time for before because you were selfishly on your own path and just didn't see that other people could also use your help. So that's been a really cool thing, I think, in the last few months.
I think you're right, dead on with that, Karen, is that
Yeah.
people understand that they actually have time.
Yep.
They have time and that they can give back and they can do other things and they can actually help their fellow.
Yeah. Once everything gets taken away, you go, wow, I didn't really need, after a few months, you're like, oh, I don't even need to do that anymore. I don't need this thing. Because you do without it long enough, you realize it's not important and other things that are emerge and take up your time. And then you just shift your priorities.
Yep, absolutely.
And going along those lines and going back to college athletics, what do you think this COVID is all going to do? People have gotten used to doing other things. Do you think the sports, everyone's just going to get back into it?
Oh, yeah. I think, yeah, the big money machine of athletics is never going to die. I mean, if you think about it, it's athletics and sports in general is one of the things that ties people together, like through entire generations and families. And, there's people that can't communicate with their parents, but they can sit down and talk to their grandpa about, the Boston Red Sox or.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
It's just a thing, like no matter what generation or what, time and space, there's sports is always a thing that people can come back and talk about. And there's memories and debates over who's better and what was this or that, or, and that's how I grew up. It's debating my father and my grandfather. They would pull out the almanac and quiz me on all these categories. And we talked sports since I was probably 5 years old. And that's, where I got my interest in it because I just learned all about it and got excited. And also it made my family happy and we had more things to do when we all were doing the same thing. So I think sports, even in this time, people will be sad and we might sit out a year or a season or whatever here and there, but the money's going to come back. The people are going to come back. I don't think there is really much of a replacement for what you get out of all the lessons and the fulfillment and the energy you get out of sports. It's not going to go away.
Okay, good.
Right.
Well,
so Karen, one last thing. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So my website is One Smart Cookie Marketing, 4 words, onesmartcookiemarketing.com. So people can visit there and get info on all those programs. I have a contact form. You can email me, Karen at onesmartcookiemarketing.com. Love to talk to people. I do all kinds of free consultations and give advice, and I don't charge people money until I know we can actually work together and get results. So happy to answer any questions.
well, I think we'll definitely have to schedule something with you, Karen, because you scared me with that LinkedIn.
You're not supposed to be scaring people.
No, right? Oh my God, my LinkedIn profile is killing me. So,
All right. Well, we can fix it, and you can take charge of it. It's not hard. We can make it.
Excellent, cool.
All right, well, good.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. It's been a pleasure and getting to know you a bit better. And good luck with your Monday class and your company. Thank you.
You too, you guys. The podcast is great. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.